What is up, guys? It is your boy J-Mad. Welcome back to the channel. We are officially in playoff season. The playoff hockey is started. The NHL playoff season is underway. I'm so excited, guys. This is going to be a great playoff season. Very, very tight-knit, I think. It's going to be a very exciting one. A lot of teams, I'm surprised, made it. Lots of teams that I'm surprised that didn't make it. We're going to go through that later on in the video. But yeah, it's very different when it comes to playoff format, when it comes to hockey than anything else. It's going to be like division rivalries more than anything, and it's a best-of-7 series. So first to 4 wins. But with that, we're going to officially go ahead and start. We're going to start off with the Eastern Conference. This was, wow, like I predicted earlier on in a few videos back that a lot of these teams in the conference would either be very low or just not even make it in the playoffs. And it's just very surprising how this playoff format shaped for the Eastern Conference. So, but I'm still very excited about a lot of these battles, and we're going to go through them right now. Starting off with the first overall seed, the best team in the Eastern Conference from the regular season, the Washington Capitals versus the Montreal Canadiens. A tale of two tapes, really, here. You're talking about the Washington Capitals, who barely made it into the playoffs last season and are obviously the best team now in the Eastern Conference this season, facing off against the Montreal Canadiens, who were one of the worst teams in the NHL last season, now making the playoffs this season. What a way to just bounce back for these Canadiens. Honestly, I'll give them props where props is due. That was so well done for the Montreal Canadiens. So, but again, this is going to be a very interesting matchup. You obviously have the up-and-coming the Montreal Canadiens, one of the youngest teams in the NHL, facing off against the Washington Capitals, one of the older teams in the NHL, but also one of the most experienced teams in the NHL. Again, very great matchup in my opinion. It's going to be very exciting. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring playoff series, but at the same time, high-scoring, yes. Short series, I also believe, yes. I think the Washington Capitals are just so overpowering. You obviously have Alex Ovechkin, Logan Thompson. You also have Pierre-Luc Dubois, Tom Wilson, Alexei Protas. Like this is just a very, very stacked team. Like they're actually, I think they could go on a run potentially. We'll see. Again, give credit where credit is due with the Montreal Canadiens. They still have a really good team. They have Patrick Laine, Cole Caulfield, Ivan Demidov. That kid's going to be stellar. Like, he's only 18 years old. That kid is going to be great. Watch out for that name, honestly. Sam Montembeault's not a bad goaltender for them. But again, overall, they're a very young, inexperienced team. And because of that, I do have the Washington Capitals beating the Montreal Canadiens in 5 games. Again, Montreal's going to win a game. I don't see them winning any more than that, to be honest with you. But again, this is a very impressive run that Montreal's had over the last 2 years, from going from one of the worst teams in the NHL to making the playoffs. Kudos to them. They have a bright future ahead of them, but right now the future is here and now in Washington, and that is why I have the Washington Capitals moving on to the second round. Moving on to my next matchup. This is actually a matchup between the two other teams in the Metropolitan Division that finished second and third. There is the Carolina Hurricanes versus the New Jersey Devils. Again, you guys saw my video predictions earlier on from a couple months ago. I had the New Jersey Devils winning the Stanley Cup this season. A lot has changed. New Jersey has gone through several injuries, including losing star forward Jack Hughes to a season-ending injury. He will not be in the playoffs this year for the New Jersey Devils. They are obviously facing a stellar lineup in the Carolina Hurricanes. They have a great defensive core. They also have great forwards. Yes, the Mikko Rantanen trade was very particular, very weird. Like, I don't know why they made that trade, but they ended up making a solid trade back, sending him to Dallas. They obviously got Logan Stankoven and a few first-round picks for him, and they obviously still have Taylor Hall, Seth Jarvis, Andrei Svechnikov, Sebastian Aho. Like, this team is very much still stacked, and they still could potentially go on a run. Having said that, again, both teams are very good, but if I had to pick a winner, I am going to go with the Carolina Hurricanes. I think they're more healthy. I think they are just a better team overall compared to the Jersey Devils. They are just dealing with injuries right now. Yes, they got back Dougie Hamilton. Yes, they have Jacob Markstrom, but that team is just kind of spiraling right now, honestly. Like, they had a great start to this season, but unfortunately injuries got in the way. And yes, they made the playoffs, but I don't see them making it out of the first round now just because of injury purposes. I do see Carolina winning the series in 6 games. The Carolina Hurricanes moving on to the second round in the Eastern Conference. Moving on to the other side of the Eastern Conference bracket, I have the winner of the Atlantic Division, the Toronto Maple Leafs, facing off against their fellow countrymen, their fellow city to state rivals in the Ottawa Senators. This is a battle of Ontario, ladies and gentlemen. We've been begging for this playoff series for quite a few years now. I did not have Ottawa making the playoffs, but again, another great team that went from, I wouldn't say one of the worst. They were probably more of a mid-team last year, but now making the playoffs this year. Again, kudos to them. Such a great year for them. Like, again, they've been really well this year as far as goaltending. Linus Ullmark has been carrying this team. They also have Brady Tkachuk, Claude Giroux. Like, this Ottawa team is stacked. They are very good. They are still very young, too, but they also have some experience, which is nice. But they are facing off against their Ontario rivals in the Toronto Maple Leafs. Obviously, they have star forward Austin Matthews, John Tavares, William Nylander, Morgan Riley. Anthony Stolarz has been very good for them as far as goaltending. So is Joseph Woll. It will be curious to see who is going to be their starting goaltender once playoffs start. But this is going to be a great series. I could see this series going to 6 or 7 games. I'm going to go ahead and say, for the sake of it, 7 games, because this is going to be a back and forth battle, ladies and gentlemen. But if I had to pick a winner, I'm going to go ahead and say the upset. I'm going to go ahead and say the Ottawa Senators pull off the upset and move on to the second round. The reason for that is because as far as goaltending-wise, I think Ottawa has the edge as far as goaltending. As far as overall defensive depth, too, I'm also going to give the edge to Ottawa. I think defensively they are better because they have like Thomas Chabot, Jake Sanderson. Those two are really good defensemen for Ottawa. And as far as Toronto, again, they have Morgan Riley. Yes, they have Brandon Carlo, but I just think they're a little slower than usual, and because of that, I just don't think they can keep up with the fast-paced, very physical, Ottawa Senators. Again, this could very, very much go either way. This is why I have it going 7 games, but if I had to lean one way or the other, I'm going to go ahead and lean Ottawa's way, and they are going to move on in 7 games to the second round of the Eastern Conference. Moving on to my other Atlantic Division matchup is between the 2 and 3 seed. I have the Tampa Bay Lightning versus the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Florida Panthers. This is a very great matchup, too. Obviously, you have in-state rivals facing each other. This is a rematch from last year's playoffs, a few years ago playoffs. Like, this is such a great series. This series, I think, is going to go a solid 6. It's going to go 6 games. I can't see it going 7 for reasons I'm about to explain. If I had to pick a winner, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm going to say the Tampa Bay Lightning kind of pull off the semi-upset against the Florida Panthers and dethrone them from being Stanley Cup champions. The reason for that is because Florida is limping into the playoffs right now, dealing with injuries. They're going to get back a few key players, Matthew Tkachuk, Carter Verhaeghe. Like, again, this team is still stacked for sure. Sergei Bobrovsky is going to try to stay on his head as usual, but I do think Andrei Vasilevsky of the Tampa Bay Lightning is the better goaltender. Again, and I think they also have more depth. They have Victor Hedman, Braden Point, Nikita Kucherov. This Tampa team is very much stacked. I think they're coming into the playoffs more healthy compared to the Florida Panthers. Florida is barely limping in because of injuries. They are going to put up a fight, obviously, but I can't see them forcing a Game 7 or even winning this series. And because of that, I do have the Tampa Bay Lightning moving on to the second round of the Eastern Conference. Moving on to the second round of the Eastern Conference, we're going to go ahead and start with the Washington Capitals facing off against the Carolina Hurricanes. This is a great matchup. You're talking about 2 of the best teams in the Metropolitan Division. It's also a great rivalry as well, and I think it's going to go not the full distance. I can see it going 6 games, and I'm going to go ahead and pick the Washington Capitals moving on to the second round. I think their goaltending is just slightly better compared to Carolina's. Carolina, yes, they have Peter Kochetkov. He's a great goaltender as far as, like, very young. He's got some years to come as far as potentially becoming a better goaltender. But I think Logan Thompson of the Washington Capitals is slightly better right now. I think he had a better regular season and will have a better playoff season compared to him. As far as overall depth, the Washington Capitals have a better depth compared to Carolina, and I can't see Carolina moving past this juggernaut that is in Washington, and that is why in 6 games I do have Washington moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Moving on to my other second round matchup, I do have the Ottawa Senators versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is actually another great rivalry because you're talking about like two teams that were very much button heads during the regular season, went back and forth in the regular season series. This is a great matchup. I could see this series going to 7 games. This is going to be a bloodbath. I think there's going to be physicality all over the place. It's going to be a goaltenders match, too, between one of the best in Linus Ullmark and another one in Andrei Vasilevskiy. If I had to give the edge, I'm going to go ahead and give the edge due to the Tampa Bay Lightning. The reason for that is because, A, they have more experience when it comes to winning the playoffs compared to the Ottawa Senators, number 1. But number 2, I just think they have more depth when it comes to their forward lineup compared to Ottawa. Yes, Ottawa is very young. Yes, they're going to be good for years to come. I just can't see them getting past the more experience and more depth in the Tampa Bay Lightning. For those reasons, I do have in 7 games the Tampa Bay Lightning moving on to the Eastern Conference Final. And in the Eastern Conference Final, this is a great matchup. This is a rematch from a handful of years back. I want to say it was like maybe 6 or 7 years back from an Eastern Conference Final rematch between the Washington Capitals and the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is a great matchup. I think overall both teams are very even when it comes to forward depth. I do think the Tampa Bay Lightning have the edge as far as when it comes to defense potentially, but having said that, it is going to come down to goaltending once again. Andrei Vasilevskiy versus Logan Thompson. This is going to be a great matchup. Will Logan Thompson be able to upset Andrei Vasilevskiy and the Tampa Bay Lightning? It's a very, very real possibility. But if I had to pick a winner, I am going to go ahead and say that the Tampa Bay Lightning somehow pull it off once again, ladies and gentlemen. They pull it off in 6 games and return back to the Stanley Cup Final for the 3rd time in 6 seasons. Like, this team is just, they're made for the playoffs. Like, this team is just absolutely stacked. I don't see anyone going past Andrei Vasilevskiy during the playoffs when it comes to the Eastern Conference, at least. This team is just ready to win once again. Obviously, John Cooper, of the head coach of the Tampa Bay Lightning, is one of the best coaches in the NHL. He's going to just obviously do magic with this team. And because of that, in 6 games, I do have the Tampa Bay Lightning upsetting the Washington Capitals and moving on to the Stanley Cup Final. Moving on to the Western Conference side of things. This is a very physical, very fast Western Conference. It's going to be very entertaining as well because you have a lot of up-and-coming teams in this conference as well. A lot of surprising teams that made it into the playoffs as well. We're going to get into that right now, starting off with the President's Trophy winners, the Winnipeg Jets, facing off against the St. Louis Blues. I didn't have the St. Louis Blues making the playoffs. I thought they would regress this year, but once they hired Jim Montgomery as their head coach, the dude has been working his magic. Like, I don't know why Boston got rid of him, but this guy has been working great wonders for St. Louis. They had an awesome winning streak during the middle of March and going into April, and that is why they made the playoffs in the first place. They're facing, obviously, the best regular season team in the Winnipeg Jets. This team is just absolutely stacked. They have Gabe Vilardi, Mark Scheifele, Josh Morrissey. They have Alex Iafallo. Connor Hellebuyck, obviously, is going to probably win the Vezina again as far as being the best goaltender in the NHL. Like, this team is just absolutely stacked. Kyle Connor is another name that comes to mind. And again, not to discourage anything when it comes to the St. Louis Blues. They've done really well. They have Jordan Binnington, their star goaltender. He's been staying on his head recently. He's been doing really well. Jordan Kyrou, Colin Parayko, Robert Thomas, Dylan Holloway, Braden Shen, Philip Broberg, Pavel Vucinovic is another name that comes to mind. They are, again, this is a very good team. Again, they somehow pulled it together when it comes to overall chemistry and made the playoffs. If I had to pick a winner, I can't see the Jets losing this series. I can see this series going to 5 or 6 games. For prediction's sake, I'm going to go ahead and say in 5 games. I could see it going to 6 because, again, St. Louis could put up a fight, but Winnipeg Jets, they're just way too good. Connor Hellebuyck is out for a mission this year. He really wants to win the cup this year for not just himself, but obviously for Winnipeg. And that is why in 5 games, I do have the Winnipeg Jets moving on to the second round of the Western Conference. Moving on to my other first round matchup in the Central Division, I have the 2nd seed Dallas Stars versus the 3rd seed Colorado Avalanche. This is such a bitter rivalry. These teams have literally been playing each other for the past few years in the playoffs, and last year obviously Dallas upset Colorado in 6 games. This is going to be a very physical series, very fast series as well. Obviously Colorado has star players like Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar, Mackenzie Blackwood, the goaltender that they acquired during the season. He's been doing really good for them. Val Nichushkin, Arturi Lehkonen. This team is very much stacked, and they're very much deep. They obviously have another great forward in Martin Necas. They got him part of the Mikko Rantanen trade. He's been doing really well as far as with building chemistry with that team. But again, Dallas also has a great team. They also have Tyler Seguin, Jamie Benn. It is to be decided if Miro Heiskanen is going to be joining them. He is coming off an injury. They're saying he's questionable right now for the first round. If he does join them, that would be a huge boost for them. Jake Unger as their goaltender. He's been really good. Not stellar, but he's been good enough for them to pull up into the playoffs. If I had to give the edge, I'm going to go ahead and give the edge to the Colorado Avalanche. Yes, recent history shows that Dallas should have the advantage, but as far as when it comes to the overall speed and health-wise, I think the Avalanche are faster. They are more healthy entering the playoffs this time around, and I just think they're going to overwhelm Dallas with their speed and with their defense, and I see them winning the series in 6 games. Dallas, yes, will put up a fight. I don't see them winning the series or even making it to Game 7, though, because of injuries and because of the lackluster defense and goaltending. Forwards, they're going to try their best to keep them in it, but they can only do so much. So that is why I have the Colorado Avalanche moving on to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs in the Western Conference. Moving on to the other side of the Western Conference bracket, the Pacific Division. I do have the Pacific Division winner, Vegas Golden Knights, facing off against the Minnesota Wild. This is actually a rematch from a few years ago. I want to say it was about 3 years ago in the playoffs. These two teams faced off. Again, it's actually a pretty good series as far as they actually have a little bit of a playoff rivalry. And Minnesota, they're getting some health back. They got Joel Eriksson back. Kaprizov is obviously going to be great for them. Matt Boldy. They also have Brock Faber. Philip Gustafsson's been a solid goaltender for them. And obviously they have a solid backup in Marc-Andre Fleury, obviously. Great legend. Final season, obviously. They want to send him off high. They're facing off against, obviously, the very deep Vegas Golden Knights. They obviously have Jack Eichel, Ivan Barbashev, Tomas Hertl, Alex Pietrangelo, Shea Theodore, Aiden Hill's their solid goaltender. Like, again, this team is overall very much deep. And if I had to pick a winner, I don't think... I want to say I don't think it's close, but I think it will be close as far as when it comes to forward-wise. As far as defense, though, I think I'm going to give the edge to Vegas because they have more experience and overall depth on defense compared to Minnesota. And because of that, I see Vegas winning this series in 6 games. Yes, Minnesota puts up a fight because they're getting more healthy, but I just don't think they can overpower Vegas. Vegas is going to be physical, they're going to be more fast, and I think they're going to score more. And because of that, I do have Vegas moving on to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs in the Western Conference. Moving on to the final matchup in the Western Conference, I do have my boys, the Los Angeles Kings, facing off against the Edmonton Oilers once again. Why? Why are we facing them 4 years in a row, ladies and gentlemen? It is 4 years in a row now that we're facing this freaking team. Like, I'm just sick of it. Can we just please face somebody else? Like, oh my god. But again, this is a great rivalry, great matchup. It's going to be very physical. It's going to be a bloodbath in my opinion. It's going to be very physical. There's a lot of hate in this rivalry, trust me. But if I had to pick a winner, it's tough because obviously both teams are very deep. Yes, you have Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl on one side in the Oilers. Yes, they have Zach Hyman. Like, this team is still good, but they are dealing with injuries. Matthias Ekholm is going to miss the first round for the Oilers. They are also missing Skinner, but he's supposedly going to be back in the playoffs, but he's so overrated when it comes to goaltending. You guys know my opinion on him. If you don't, go check out my other videos as far as when it came to my predictions earlier in the season. You would know why. Now, moving on. But the Kings also have had a great year. They're actually on pace to potentially have one of the greatest years in their history. Obviously, they have star forwards Adrian Kempe, Andrei Kopitar, Kevin Fiala, Alex Laferriere. Like, this team is just very much stacked in the Los Angeles Kings, both defense and goaltending. Like, Darcy Kemper is a Vezina trophy candidate. The dude has been setting records when it comes to overall save percentage, shutouts, everything. This dude is just on a roll, and he's ready for this team to go deep in the playoffs. If I had to pick a winner, obviously, the Oilers have owned us the last few years. Obviously, I'm not discrediting that, and I'm not discrediting them. They are a great team, but they are coming into the playoffs limping. They are literally like wounded. Like, you could see the blood literally pouring out of them right now, as far as like how injured they are entering the playoffs. Because of that, and because I think of the goaltending difference between Skinner and Darcy Kemper, I will go ahead and say it. The Los Angeles Kings will finally beat the Edmonton Oilers in 6 games. Yes, you heard me right. This team is just ready to finally beat the Dragon in the Edmonton Oilers. I don't think it's going to be close when it comes to goaltending. Defense-wise, I think the Kings are the better defensive team. Forward-wise, yes, the Oilers are somewhat better because of Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, but because those two are literally barely healthy themselves, like, this team can only rely on them so much. And because of that, and because of how healthy the Kings are entering the playoffs right now, I do have the Los Angeles Kings moving on in 6 games to the second round of the Western Conference. Moving on to the second round of the Western Conference, I do have the President's Trophy winner Winnipeg Jets facing off against the Colorado Avalanche. This is a rematch from last year's playoffs from the first round. This is a great series. This is starting to become a rivalry, ladies and gentlemen. You're talking about, obviously, one of the best teams in the Jets and one of the best teams in the Avalanche. Both young, both very fast, and both very upcoming, as far as just they're going to be good for years to come. And if I had to pick a winner, this one is tough. Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar love playing against Connor Hellebuyck. Connor Hellebuyck hasn't been able to figure them out in years past. If he can this year, obviously Winnipeg would be able to move on. But if I had to pick a winner, I will go ahead and say it. The Colorado Avalanche are going to move on to the Western Conference Final in 6 games. The reason for that is because I think they're more deep as far as overall depth, as far as forwards, defense, goaltending. Obviously, that's an advantage Winnipeg. Don't get me wrong, Connor Hellebuyck is the better goaltender between him and Mackenzie Blackwood. But I think the speed, the overall speed and scoring of the Colorado Avalanche will overwhelm Winnipeg. Winnipeg, yes, will put up a fight, but I can't see them winning the series against Colorado. Colorado is just too good. They're too fast. They want to win again, and I think they have a good chance of winning again. And that is why I do have them moving on to the Western Conference Final in 6 games. Moving on to my other second round matchup, I do have the Vegas Golden Knights versus the Los Angeles Kings. This is another great rivalry. Like, obviously, these two love to butt heads during the regular season and in playoff years past. And overall, this is going to be a great series. I think this series is going to go the distance. It's going to go to 7 games because it's just a tough series between the two. I think the goaltending is advantage the Kings because Darcy Kemper is better than Adin Hill, in my opinion. Defensive depth-wise, I will also give the edge to the Los Angeles Kings because they are led by Drew Doughty, Mikey Anderson, Vladislav Gavrikov, Brant Clark. Again, this team is just such a defensive juggernaut. As far as forwards-wise, I will give the edge to Vegas. They have more of a scoring touch compared to the Kings, but it is a little closer than a lot of people think. But again, this series will go the distance to 7 games. I could see this going either way. But if I had to pick a winner, this is unbiased. I promise you this is unbiased. I do have the Los Angeles Kings moving on in 7 games against the Golden Knights. They own them during the regular season. It is going to be closer when it comes to playoffs because obviously it's just a whole different demon. But I do think the Kings have the edge over goaltending and defense. I think their forwards will just do enough to get them past the Knights and move on in 7 games to the Western Conference Final. And there you have it. In the Western Conference Final, I do have the Colorado Avalanche versus the Los Angeles Kings. This is such a great matchup. You're talking about one of the best forward scoring groups in Colorado facing off against one of the best defensive goaltending groups in the Los Angeles Kings. This is literally like positive versus negative when it comes to magnets. Like, it's gonna be a collision course. This is going to be a very physical series, very fast series. If I had to pick a winner, this is tough because my stepdad is a Colorado Avalanche fan, and I might not be able to watch any games with him if they end up facing off against each other. But if I have to pick a winner, and if I have to be real, I will go ahead and say it. The Colorado Avalanche will move on in 5 games against the Los Angeles Kings. Again, Darcy Kemper is going to stand on his head as much as he can against his former team, but Los Angeles is going to get overwhelmed by the speed and power and scoring of Colorado. This team is ready to just go for another run at the Cup, and that is why in 5 games, I do have the Colorado Avalanche going back to the Stanley Cup Final for the second time in 4 seasons. And what a Stanley Cup Final we have, ladies and gentlemen. I think if this ends up being the Stanley Cup Final, it's going to be a great one because it is a rematch from the 2022 Stanley Cup Final. You do have the Colorado Avalanche versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is going to be a very physical series. Both teams are going to want to just destroy each other because, again, this is a rematch. This is going to be a battle. This is going to be a war. You have, obviously, the better goaltender in Andrei Vasilevsky and more of the, just overall balance of the group in the Tampa Bay Lightning versus the more scoring-heavy group in both forwards and defense in the Colorado Avalanche. This is going to be a very back and forth series, I think. It's going to be very fast, very physical, very high scoring, I believe, as well. And if I have to pick a winner, this one's tough. I won't lie. But if I have to pick a winner, I think the difference is going to come down to, obviously, the goaltending and the defense. And because of that, in 6 games, I do have your Stanley Cup champion, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Yes, this team is very much stacked. I think they are ready for another run. I think they will overwhelm Mackenzie Blackwood of the Colorado Avalanche as far as scoring-wise, as far as overall depth. Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar will try to do as much as they can, but they can only do so much, ladies and gentlemen. And again, this is going to be a great series. Don't get me wrong. It could go either way, in my opinion. But if I had to pick a winner, it's going to be the Tampa Bay Lightning. And they are going to win the Stanley Cup for the 3rd time in 6 seasons. Congrats to them, in my opinion. If they win it, good for them. But if I would rather have Colorado win it, in my opinion, for my stepdad, because I love him, trust me. But again, if I have to be real, if I'm going to give my official prediction, I will have the Tampa Bay Lightning winning the Stanley Cup for the 3rd time in 6 seasons. And if I had to pick an MVP, I think the Conn Smythe is going to go to Andrei Vasilevsky. The dude is just going to stand on his head this season, I think, for this playoff season for the Tampa Bay Lightning. The dude is just obviously one of the best goaltenders in the NHL, and because of that, he's going to be MVP. He's going to be the reason, one of the very big reasons why the Tampa Bay Lightning will be your Stanley Cup champions. And that is it for my official predictions video, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, we'll come back to this video in a few weeks because obviously I might do more prediction videos once the official rounds go one by one after another. But we'll see what happens. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for all the love and support. Like and subscribe as always, guys. And there's so much more to come. I promise you that. As always.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kings just beat the Ducks, and guess what?
Embarrassing loss, 6-1.
Oh, yeah. My friend here is a big Ducks fan. Oh, he's got to pay the price now.
Alright, listen. Hold this, sir.
Oh,
Hey, don't put it on.
oh, there goes the Ducks jersey.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Looks good.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
That looks good,
Doesn't
senor.
that look good?
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't that look good, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah. Oh,
Let's
yeah.
go, boys!